to get teachers in classrooms.
And in sports, Ohio football begins fall camp. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Silver Barker.
And I'm Jack Demler. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio.
The Ohio statewide primary saw a voter turnout of only 7.9% yesterday.
The record low turnout may be judged as an outlier since there's no record of a statewide August primary in the last 60 years. Two Republican incumbent representatives, Sean Stevens and Mark Frazier, lost to challengers in central Ohio districts. Democratic Representative Bride Rose Sweeney beat Democratic incumbent Representative Monique Smith. The maps used yesterday have already been found unconstitutional and will only be implemented for the 2022 elections.
Heat is moving in on top of mass destruction in Kentucky. People on the front lines are trying to cope with this devastation while facing searing temperatures that feel more than 100 degrees. Often working with no power and no clean running water, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is sounding the alarm on the potentially life-threatening temperatures they're facing. He says more than 400 people with nothing left are living in shelters.
That is only a fraction of the overall number of displaced people. Most are with friends or with family because that's what we do as Kentuckians.
Governor Beshear is establishing funding for tax-deductible donations to go towards paying for each flood victim's funeral. Several organizations are accepting money donations for Kentucky assistance. Kentucky Emergency Management is accepting volunteers for debris removal and shelter assistance. Many other organizations are accepting cleaning supplies, non-perishable food, and other items. Officials from the National Weather Service confirmed a tornado touchdown in the Dallas, West Virginia area Monday night, and cleanup efforts are ongoing. The storm ripped roofs off some homes, uprooted trees, and scattered debris across Marshall County. The Weather Service says the EF2 tornado reached winds up to 120 miles per hour. It tracked along the Ohio-West Virginia border before heading into Pennsylvania. Nearly 100 million people in the U.S. are under heat advisories until the end of the week. Most Northeast advisors go in effect tomorrow and continue into Friday. For eastern Kentucky, where severe flooding is causing deathly conditions, the heat is expected to be relatively short-lived, with temperatures expected to return closer to average by Friday. Forecaster Peyton Simchek joins us for more on the heat advisories affecting this area.
Yeah, Silver, we've been sitting in this heat advisory warning for quite some time now. It has been really hot outside. In fact, we might have been seeing this for too long. Across the board in Athens to the west, we've been seeing it. It is expected to leave around 8 p.m. tonight, but there is a chance that it may linger into tomorrow, which I will touch on later. But it has been crazy hot outside. In Athens today, we're looking at 88 degrees right now. It is mostly cloudy right now, but it has been mostly sunny throughout the day, and it is pretty humid, and that's shooting our heat index up to 94 degrees. So it has been feeling way hotter than it actually is. In fact, it almost hit 100 degrees in the heat index. So it has been so hot out. And across the board in Athens, we're looking at 90 degrees, and we're looking at a range of high 80s to 90s in surrounding areas, Lancaster and up to Columbus. And it's been a mostly sunny day. It hasn't had a speck of rain in Athens, but we'll see if that'll return in my full weather forecast.
Thanks, Peyton. The shortage of qualified teachers is raising concerns for local school leaders. School districts are working to address the issue with the start of the school year 3 weeks away. When Phil Howard first took charge of the Jackson City School District, he had no problems finding qualified teachers.
I literally had milk crates full of applications for elementary education, particularly in the primary K through 3.
15 years later, it's a different story.
Now I'm lucky if I've got 15, 20 applicants for those same positions.
Jackson City Schools isn't alone in its struggle to find teachers. It's a problem across the country as fewer college students decide to enter the profession. Scott DeMauro, the president of the Ohio Education Association, says the number of education majors dropped in half between 2005 and 2020, and that trend continues.
The shortage is becoming more of an issue now because for a while we didn't have enough growth in student population.
The shortage of teachers is such a problem that last year Ohio lawmakers granted districts the ability to loosen substitute teaching requirements up through the 2023-2024 academic year.
Quite frankly, if it weren't for those people, and most of them honestly were college students, if we weren't able to have those people to come and substitute teach, I don't know what we would have done. I don't know how we would have gotten through.
Schools also addressed the shortage by combining classes, increasing teachers' class loads, as well as changing teaching assignments. Howard says the teachers at Jackson are understanding of the shortage and have been very helpful with their situation. In other education news, a curriculum director at the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction will now be focused on reviewing programs allowing teachers to carry guns at school. Governor Mike DeWine announced the appointment of Mary Davis yesterday. This comes after Ohio Republicans lowered the training hours for teachers to carry guns in schools and told school districts to submit plans for those hours. The Columbus Dispatch reports Davis previously served as an Athens County Sheriff's deputy, amongst other law enforcement positions.
We have an update for you on a story we brought you last month about water access in Benton County. After decades of waiting, residents in the Garrett Ridge area won't have to go to a vending station for their water needs. A $799,000 federal grant is paying for engineering and construction of an extension of the county's service lines to the area. The project will lay down about 10 miles of new water per lines. The funding is being awarded through the Water Infrastructure Improvements for the Nation Act. Coming up, states across the country have been taking action on abortion rights since Roe v. Wade was overturned. A closer look at abortion access around the U.S. Plus, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is in Taiwan today. Why U.S. officials say this trip doesn't affect their stance on China. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
On Nova, Universe Revealed.
A black hole is the greatest exhibition of nature's mysterious powers.
An infinitely dense point
that causes ripples in the fabric of space-time itself.
If you really want to understand the deepest questions of the universe, you have to understand black holes.
Black Holes on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
The relationship between plants and humans is extraordinary. We've been adapting to each other for as long as we've been on the planet.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
That's beyond cool. That's epic.
On Finding Your Roots, filmmaker Alejandro G. Iñárritu.
I always has been curious what make me what I am.
Performance artist Marina Abramovich.
Okay, this made me very proud.
And painter Kehinde Wiley.
This is intense.
Warriors, soldiers.
So who's a fighter?
Powerful ancestors.
It's like being descended from royalty.
Wow.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Many states have taken action to either protect abortion rights or limit them since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The latest vote came out of Kansas yesterday, where voters chose to protect the right to an abortion. Chris Wynn breaks down the sweeping changes being made across the U.S.
By an overwhelming margin, voters in Kansas rejected a ballot measure that would have allowed lawmakers to ban abortion in the state.
From the moment that lawmakers put this on the primary ballot, we knew it was going to be an uphill fight, but we did not despair. We put in the work, and these numbers speak for themselves.
In the aftermath of the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade, Republican-controlled state legislatures across the country have taken swift action to limit or outlaw the procedure.
Actually believes in the Bible.
knows that, this is something that goes against everything.
However, abortion rights are broadly popular across party lines. The most recent CNN poll found that 63% of Americans disapproved of the Supreme Court's decision.
I just think healthcare is a fundamental right, not just for me, but for any person in this country.
Tuesday's turnout in Kansas provides an indication that the desire to defend abortion rights could be a persuasive issue for Democrats in the upcoming midterm elections.
The voters of Kansas sent a powerful signal that this fall the American people will vote to preserve and protect the right and refuse to let them be ripped away by politicians. And my administration has their back.
Later this week, lawmakers in Indiana will take up a measure that would nearly ban abortion. In Georgia, a fetus with a detectable heartbeat can now count as a dependent on tax returns. I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
President Joe Biden signed another executive order today to help ensure abortion access. Biden signed the order virtually during the first meeting of the administration's recently formed task force on reproductive health care access. The president said the order will help women travel out of state to receive medical care and ensures healthcare provider companies with federal law so women aren't delayed in getting treatment. He also said it advances research and data collection to evaluate the impact the reversal of Roe v. Wade is having on maternal health and other health conditions.
Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones is testifying in a defamation trial in Austin, Texas this week. The InfoWars founder and fake news propagator is being sued by parents of a child murdered in the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting. Jones said the massacre was staged. The judge also admonished Jones for lying in court after claiming he was broke because his company filed for bankruptcy. Families of 7 victims and one FBI agent have successfully sued Alex Jones for defamation in 3 different trials taking place in both Texas and Connecticut. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and a congregational delegation are in Taiwan today. She says the visit symbolizes U.S. support for the self-governing island. Amy Kiley reports on American officials who say the trip doesn't change the U.S. position on Taiwan.
We come in friendship. We thank you for your leadership. We want the world to recognize that.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is demonstrating that the U.S. stands with Taiwan, and she's standing up to Chinese threats.
Our response will be very firm, strong, and forceful.
She and a congressional delegation have been meeting with leaders in Taiwan today.
We hope that the global alliance of democracy will stand with Taiwan.
Pelosi is the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit the island in 25 years. But the White House says that doesn't change the U.S. position on Taiwan.
There's no reason for Beijing to turn this visit into some sort of crisis.
The U.S. acknowledges Beijing's position that Taiwan is part of China, but it doesn't accept the Communist Party's claim of sovereignty over the self-governing island. Pelosi is a long-standing critic of China's alleged human rights abuses. That country is putting on a display of military force in response to her visit.
China has every right to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity.
The White House tried to deter Pelosi from making the trip, but the visit is getting some bipartisan support.
It's been unseemly and counterproductive for President Biden and his aides to have publicly sought to deter her.
We have to step up and, frankly, rally democracies around the world.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The trip coincides with an arraignment for the House Speaker's husband today. Paul Pelosi hasn't entered a plea yet on misdemeanor DUI with injury charges.
The company that operates TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and home goods stores agreed to pay a $13 million fine for selling recalled infant products. TJX's products had been removed from the market due to risks of infant suffocation and death. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission said TJX's settlement covers about 1,200 recalled products from 2014 to 2019. TJX said it will introduce a program to make sure it complies with the Consumer Product Safety Act. Experts are concerned with the spread of monkeypox as students head back to school. What students can do to stay safe this fall, that story still ahead.
We've been creeping up into the 90s recently, but how long will this last? Find out in my full weather forecast when Newswatch returns.
That's beyond cool. That's epic.
On Finding Your Roots, filmmaker Alejandro G. Iñárritu.
I always has been curious what make me what I am.
Performance artist Marina Abramovich.
Okay, this made me very proud.
And painter Kehinde Wiley.
This is intense.
Warriors, soldiers.
So who's a fighter?
Powerful ancestors.
It's like being descended from royalty.
Wow.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, would the value of this Western painting leave you speechless?
It's a classic Western scene. It is a Utah scene, and that makes it somewhat rare. His work is highly coveted and desired. It really is a very special piece.
Okay. Find out more next time on Antiques Roadshow from the Hotel Del Coronado in Coronado, California.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Meet Zimbabwe's breakout presidential candidate. On the eve of Election Day, the incumbent seizes control of the vote. A sobering account proving the fight for democracy never ends. President on POV.
Monday at 9 on WOUB.
The relationship between plants and humans is extraordinary. We've been adapting to each other for as long as we've been on the planet.
It has been so hot here in the Athens area. Let me tell you, today I opened up the door and I was winded. It has been so hot outside. In Athens today, we had a temperature high of 91 degrees and a temperature low of 71 coming later on this evening. So it has been an abnormally hot day. And with that heat index I touched on earlier, it almost shot up to 100 degrees. So it has been feeling really hot out there, and even the low is hotter than usual. And on top of that, it's been mostly sunny. As you can see across the board, there has not been a speck of rain. Athens has not seen any showers. But on a wider scale, there is some light to heavy rain moving in the northwest area with some cloudy skies following that. But the only effect we may see from that is a possibility of some foggy skies tonight. And a possible, we do have a storm risk. It's marginal though, so it's a very low chance. So we probably will not be seeing that in Athens. In fact, it is supposed to be mostly clear this evening with an overnight low of 71. So we're going to be seeing some settled weather. It's going to be a pleasant, lovely summer night. I can't wait to get outside and enjoy that. And in Athens tomorrow, it's going to continue during the day, but it is going to be pretty hot and humid because we are looking at a temperature high of 90 with a low of 69 degrees. So it's going to cool down in the evening time. But that heat advisory that we're in right now, it's expected to leave around 8, but with this humidity tomorrow, there's a big chance that that heat advisory warning might stick around and linger tomorrow. But towards the evening tomorrow night, we do have a cold front pushing into our area, so that's going to be bringing some showers and storms, and that will continue into Friday. As you can see here, we are expecting some heavy downpour on Friday. I mean, we're expecting about 1.5 inches of rain, so that flood warning that we had the other day is expected to return. So definitely keep that in mind. There's going to be some storms on Friday, and that trend is going to continue. As you can see here, Saturday we are looking at 86 degrees with a low of 69. But in the morning, the cold front that we're seeing coming in tomorrow night, it's going to be leaving. So Saturday afternoon, we're going to have some storms coming in and out. It's going to be an on and off sort of thing. And we're going to see the same thing on Sunday. We're going to have a high of 87 with a low of 70. So it's going to be another hot and humid day with some of those spotty storms. It's going to be on and off and quite unpredictable. And we're going to see that same thing this upcoming Monday to start the week off with another chance of thunderstorms with a high of 86 and a low of 68. But the temperature is going to drop a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's going to be 80 on Tuesday. It's going to rain again. and it's going to be 77 on Wednesday, which is the lowest we've seen in a little bit. So remember, this Friday, the end of the work week, it's going to be some heavy downpour. So if there's high water on the ground, turn around, don't drown.
Thanks, Peyton. There are more than 5,800 probable or confirmed cases of monkeypox across the U.S. Mandy Gaither has the latest on what health experts say should be done to protect students as they enter the classroom this fall.
Across the U.S., cases of monkeypox continue to climb, now a concern over the virus in schools.
Monkeypox transmits when people are in close personal contact, and kids in small classrooms, particularly with bad ventilation, as many classrooms are at risk.
The CDC says monkeypox is spread through close personal, often skin-to-skin contact, which includes direct physical touch with rash, scabs, or body fluids from someone infected, through mucus, and by touching objects or fabrics that someone with the virus has used.
There is a risk that this is carried in what's called fomites, which are inanimate objects. Toilet seats, if you want to say that, but basically bedding, sheets, things like that.
Health experts say schools, districts, as well as colleges and universities should plan now on what to do about monkeypox and keep cleanliness a top priority.
Chairs and desks need to be cleaned. I don't see how you're going to prevent kids from touching each other. So that is a big question. I unfortunately don't have an answer.
The CDC says scientists are still studying if the virus can be spread when someone has no symptoms, how often the virus is spread through respiratory droplets, or if a person with monkeypox symptoms might be more likely to spread the virus that way. They're also looking into whether the virus spreads through things like urine or feces. For health.
Coming up in sports, we head over to Fairfield County to find out how the Bern Union Rockets are looking ahead to their big rivalry game. That and more when Newswatch returns. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
That's beyond cool. That's epic.
On Finding Your Roots, filmmaker Alejandro G. Iñárritu.
I always has been curious what make me what I am.
Performance artist Marina Abramovich.
Okay, this made me very proud.
And painter Kehinde Wiley.
This is intense.
Warriors, soldiers.
So who's a fighter?
Powerful ancestors.
It's like being descended from royalty.
Wow.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
The relationship between plants and humans is extraordinary. We've been adapting to each other for as long as we've been on the planet.
On America Outdoors. When you think of wild spaces in America, where does your mind go? I'm on the edge of the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. As I take in the scenery around me, I start to see how wilderness isn't just a place. It's a feeling.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Meet Zimbabwe's breakout presidential candidate. On the eve of Election Day, the incumbent seizes control of the vote. A sobering account proving the fight for democracy never ends.
Those who believe in change,
President on POV.
Monday at 9 on WOUB.
The Bern Union Rockets prepare for this season, looking to repeat success like last year. Newswatch reporter Maria Manessi has more, including what game you should be on the lookout for.
The Bern Union Rockets are ready to tackle their upcoming season. Leading the charge for the Rockets is second-team All-State quarterback Nate Nemeth.
Obviously, Nate Nemeth has been our leader for the past 2 years. This will be his third year. He'll be a 3-year captain. That doesn't happen very often.
The captain enters his senior season as a vocal leader and player for the Rockets. Nemeth, along with many of his teammates, have an important date circled on the calendar, October 21st.
It's a huge rivalry. Fisher Catholic, Bern Union, we've been going at it for years. It's one of my most favorite games, probably my favorite game of the season. That week is just intense all the way up building up to the game.
Bern Union has faced off 51 times against Fisher Catholic, the most against a conference opponent. Fisher Catholic leads the rivalry 31-20, but Bern Union has won 5 of the last 6 games, including a dominant 49-14 win last season. The game is months away, but the rivalry is on the front of the team's minds.
I'm sure in the kids' minds, they're always competing against Fisher. You know, we're small towns, small schools. It's easy to hate each other, and I think that has grown with the years.
And literally on the wall, the reminder gives the Rockets the motivation to beat the Irish.
Everyone at Bern hates to see that green, so playing against them, I just hate that. It drives us.
The deep rivalry makes it more than just an ordinary game.
We just try and treat it like every other game, but we know it's a little more special when it comes to that game night.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Maria Manessi in Sugar Grove.
Bern Union kicks off its season against Dawson Bryant August 19th. The 2022 season for the Bobcat football team is officially underway. The Bobcats are coming off a 3-9 season and look to improve. They have 21 practices as part of their fall camp. Some names to note returning for the Cats are quarterback Curtis Rourke, Bryce Houston, who led the team in tackles, and Tariq Drake, who had a team high of 3 interceptions last season. In order to succeed, delegation is a huge part of head coach Tim Albin's plan.
Define some roles within the staff. In some cases, some of them redefined, and then again, like I said, let them do their job, and so I'm free to do other things. The desk was cluttered at times, and I think that'll be one thing that'll help us move forward.
The 21 fall practices will run through August 26th. The National Football League is appealing the 6-game suspension handed to Deshaun Watson by a disciplinary officer. According to the Associated Press, the league sought an indefinite suspension of at least 1 year. The NFL Players Union has until Friday to respond to the league's appeal. Major League Baseball has lost one of its most iconic voices. Longtime Los Angeles Dodgers broadcaster Vin Scully passed away yesterday at the age of 94. Scully was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1982 and received the Commissioner's Historic Achievement Award in 2014. I'm Jacob Mata, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Jack.
Thanks, Jacob. Buried treasure is being recovered after centuries underwater. Explorers have found numerous artifacts from the Nuestra Señora de las Maravillas, which translates to Our Lady of Wonders. The nearly 900-ton Spanish galleon sunk after it collided into another boat. The Our Lady of Wonders had been carrying a lot of cargo when it went under, and millions of items have been recovered. This recent discovery plans to be displayed later this month at the New Bahamas Maritime Museum.
It is looking like a great summer night. It's going to be mostly clear out, and we're going to have an overnight low of 71, so it's going to be a pretty warm night. In fact, it might be the best night ever. And tomorrow, we're going to have a temperature high of 90 with that low of 69, but remember that rain and those storms are going to come in tomorrow evening, so it's going to be pretty clear throughout the day. And this weekend, we're going to be expecting some spotty on and off storms. It's going to be unpredictable leading up into next week. The same thing is going to be on Monday, and we're going to have some rain to the middle of next week. So get out there and enjoy this really nice summer night.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Silver Barker.
And for Peyton Simchek and Jacob Mata, I'm Jack Demler. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Because of my move that I had neglected sending in my donation, it interfered with my enjoyment of the programs. To assuage that guilt, I donated my car. Once I donated my car, I sat back and thoroughly enjoyed all those shows.